Hello, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are going bold, absolutely, with the experts today. You can find us on goingboldmedia.com. I am Cece Schatz. I'm one of your hosts here today on Link to Expert Business Showcase. And those of you who don't know me, I'm the doyenne of relationship building. And I have my good friend here with me.
Joanne Weiland, When You Can Fly, the founder of the collaborative cloud community, Link to Expert.
Absolutely. Joanne
Welcome,
is
everyone.
famous for that. You are famous for collaborating, really making friends and doing business with them. And so I think that's a wonderful thing that you do. But let's get on to our business at hand because we have got a terrific guest here with us today. One that I am excited to meet. We have Laura here with us. I'm going to bring her right up. Hey, Laura, how are you?
Hi, it's
Every,
nice to meet everybody.
We
meet
have Laura.
everyone. Everyone meet Laura Burford. I've known her for 3 to 4 years, 3.5 years about, and we met actually at an IMC in Philadelphia's online class because of the fact, of course, that was during the pandemic, and nobody was physically going anywhere. And we just hit it off immediately. This woman is amazing. She's introduced me to so many people. She's a true collaborator. I've introduced her. I've attended so many of her workshops since then, learned a lot, asked people what did they learn. We share our different nuggets, different people that have been participating. She's a true collaborator. So welcome, Laura.
Well, thank you. And thank you for a fabulous intro there.
Yeah,
Well, and the other thing is she actually lives in Westchester, which I grew up really close to there. And so near Allentown, which nobody knew where that was until Billy Joel sang about it. And they still don't know where it is, but they think they do just because they heard about it. So anyway, but it's just interesting how, we just clicked right away. And it's just exciting to have her on the show today.
yeah, I'm thrilled to meet you too, Laura. It's the first time. You are a strategic advisor for business consultants, and you are the creator of the Consultant's Blueprint, a consulting framework that is known for a signature program, Consulting Mastery and a Path to Sustain Business. And we're going to be talking about that today. So I was really kind of excited about that because sustain scalable business. And so tell us a little bit about your journey, why you decided to not only start your business, the Laura's Consulting Guide, but also why did you have this passion to help other business owners to be able to really move forward and build their business?
Oh, let me start by saying that my business has changed over the years to where it is today. And that is the business that we're talking about today, where I spend time helping business consultants and small consulting businesses build, grow, and be able to scale their businesses. But that's not really where I started. And I actually fell into what I'm doing now because a good friend came to me in 2016, and her comment was, can you help some of these people? You've been consulting for most of your career, and people are going out on their own and they're struggling. And of course, Joanne knows me a little bit. Joanne, what do you think I said? Sure,
Sure.
not a problem. We'll meet, we'll talk. But as I took the time to meet with people, I also sat back and I listened to what I call the noise. And the noise is what is in the world is going on. And so many people are saying, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to go out on my own. And that meant listening to and reading about the future of work and what was happening. And the number of people that were saying, I want to be my own boss. I've been laid off 3 times. I don't want to keep working for somebody else. I'm now in my 40s, 50s, and I'm struggling to find a job. What do I do? So that's how I kind of fell into what I'm doing, because what happened was I started to find out that I was spending more and more time trying to help people than doing what I was doing, what my business was. I actually went out on my own, and please interrupt me here because I can get long-winded. I actually went out on my own in 2002 after 9/11, when I was forced to make a decision as to what did I want to do. At the time, I was a managing director at a startup. It was an international startup consulting organization, but we were really close to the towers. So when the towers went down, the business got impacted. And I had always wanted to have my own business. That's what I went when I went to college. I told my parents, I want my own business. But life, throws you little twists. And I graduated at a time when the economy was terrible, and I was very lucky, extremely lucky, because I had a number of top-notch companies recruiting me to go through the management training programs. So I went through one, and it was Sears and Roebuck retail program, which is a very tactical, hands-on program, and I got bored. So I picked up the phone and I called one of the other organizations. It just happened to be GE, and started to work for General Electric. And they came back and said, could you please go through our management training program? So I'd say in my first 5 years of my career, I learned a lot about what I carry forward into my business today. And that's why I tell that little story. But when I left GE, I went into consulting, and I can say I worked for or consulted to some of the top 50 corporations in the world before going out on my own as an IT management consultant.
And that's what it takes. People don't realize so many times, in my opinion, in my world, when an entrepreneur like yourself starts, usually we start with a blank piece of paper and we don't really know what to do. And yes, we have had experience in the past with different things, but it's totally different when it's you, yourself, and you. And
yeah, and that kind of, Joanne, ties to why I do what I do. Because I had 10 years with PwC. I had
right,
tons of top-notch consulting training and experience, and I made tons of mistakes.
right.
So when I went out on my own, I thought I knew what I was doing, and I tried to find people to help me. And guess what? I couldn't find anybody who could help me.
Well, that's what I love about what you do the most, because I feel like people usually think they need to hire a consultant, but consultants even need to hire consultants.
Yeah, they do.
Experts hiring experts. You're an expert of the experts. I mean, experts can hire you for your expertise, because it is one thing to go on your own, and it's another thing to know what to do and to really, I feel like you even have a passion statement instead of a mission statement. I love that, the way you're always helping entrepreneurial women and men create and scale their business successfully, because a lot of times you don't even know how to get your first client. And I know you even help them, learn that, because when they usually were working wherever they were working, including possibly yourself, I'm guessing, but most of the time someone else brought in the clients, and then they helped work with the clients. But it wasn't like they had to bring them in, not only just work with them, but also keep the customer service, everything up, spinning all these plates at one time.
Yeah, I had to bring in the clients because of the level I was at, as well as worrying about delivering. So I was a customer, and I had the training to bring in the clients, and I still made mistakes. So if I had all this training and I was making mistakes, how can somebody who's brand new expect to do it do it and be flawless? I tell people, you're not going to be flawless. Let's be realistic. You're not going to be flawless. But so my whole approach, and yeah, I do have a passion. I don't want to see people fail. That's simply what it is. Everything I do is focused on helping somebody succeed.
Oh, it's so wonderful, because seriously, I know with me, when I started in 2002, my biggest thing was this is silly, but I would come in the morning and think, why didn't my team do these things? Because usually I work for companies that were on the West Coast and we're on the East Coast. And I just couldn't believe they didn't do it. Then I realized I don't even have a team anymore. I have to do it. I mean, silly things like that. When you have done something for 20, like me, 20 some years prior to that, and you had all these people assisting you and helping you. And then the other real big eye opener for me was I didn't get a paycheck anymore. And not only did I not get a paycheck, but if I wanted to do anything, I had to pay for it too. So, I mean, it sounds silly, but it was really like you think you know before you decide to go on your own. But it really is, for me anyway, it was a real abrupt eye opener. And I'm still grateful I did it and I never regret it. But it's so different.
Yeah. And even before I started working with the solo business consultant and the smaller consulting businesses, I spent 9 months validating, and I tell consultants they need to validate what they want to do. And I mentioned 2016, 2 weeks before Christmas that year, I held a workshop. It's consulting for you. That was 12 spots for 12 people. I charged, it was a cover my expenses charge. That was it. And within 3 days, I sold out.
Wow.
I offer that same workshop for the next 9 months before moving away from setting up what I call internal consulting operations, project management offices,
Right.
to doing this. But during that time, I interviewed a lot of successful consultants, as well as consultants who had failed, to come up with what I now call the consultant's blueprint.
And I love the way you offer these workshops consistently and frequently, because I feel like the more I know, the more I know I don't know, the more I want to know. And if nothing else, even if you think you know it, you might need a refresher.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I was listening to you guys, you're talking, I realized that, I started my business later than you guys did, but I did it because my ex had a consulting business, and then I helped him with that. I did all the grunt work, in that. And like you said, I was the team. And so then we went on to have our own accounting business. Again, I was the team, doing all the things that needed to be done. And then when I found myself, divorced and broke and not knowing what I could do, and like, I can't live on minimum wage, now I'm out here. How can I survive? Because, all I've done is build my ex-husband's business up and his reputation up. And, how am I? I'm the team, so like, what do I do? So then I realized, well, if I can do it for him, I certainly can do it for me. So that's when that shift started happening. And I do think that a lot of times when we're in business, we think that we can't do something when we really can, because we have been doing it, because we have been the team for some other business, so why not be our own team? And then build a team from there. So I love what you ladies said. I think it's so valuable. And we often say, to be a coach, you need a coach. The same thing with with, I think, any kind of business. If you're continuing to grow, you need that further education, that further spirit building and whatnot, and direction. Because I love the idea of having the blueprint, because we are evolving. We're constantly evolving. If we don't continuously look at our lives, look at our path of work, our business, we're in trouble. So we have to continue to do that.
Yeah. Right. And I agree with everything you said, Cece. I also find, though, that when we were the team or part of the team, no matter what part of the team you were in, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be in the spotlight, you're supposed to be in the limelight, because if you're not, nobody's going to know even why they would want to work with you, because it's kind of like all of a sudden, your ego kicks in and you're not good enough to do that. And so I feel like Laura also helps you with that, because of the fact that, meaning that, you do have to figure out your strengths and your weaknesses. For an example, that assessment I've taken of yours, I know you continually offer that to people, and it's so priceless for 10 minutes to take the assessment. But not only then, once you take it, you offer them to talk to them for 30 minutes and help them check this out, because we all have strengths and weaknesses. And I feel like this is a quick, easy way for you to springboard into your consulting business, or once you have already started it, to take it to the next level. I love the way you say scale it, because it really is, you need to scale your business up continuously, I think. But
Yeah.
so you want to talk a little bit about that,
Can
Laura?
I just break in on that? Because I want to make sure that our audience knows that this is a free gift that she's giving, the consultant assessment. You just go to her website, laurasconsultingguide.com. Laura's, Lauras, consulting, consulting, guide, guide.com. Go there. There's a place on there. You can look for it, and it's free, the consultant guide, the consultant assessment. Take the assessment. Then she's willing to give you, along with this free gift, a free consultation, but you must take the assessment first, because she can't talk to you if you don't have it. She needs the information from the assessment to be able to help you with whatever your particular problem is. And then you can discuss that with her. So that is awesome. So thank you so much, Laura, for offering this gift for our audience. So you just tell them that you heard them here on the link to expert. You heard her here, and take the free consultant assessment, then schedule your personal consultant evaluation, or what do you call it? Your chat, your
strategy session, consultant strategy session. That's what I call it.
So yeah, I mean, what a great gift. So again, it's laurasconsultingguide.com. So go ahead. Go ahead and go.
And that assessment ties to the consultant's blueprint, because every statement that's in there, and the yes and no statements, ties back to the consultant's blueprint. And the blueprint, just briefly, focuses on 4 areas that I strongly recommend consultants hone. But this ties back to your team concept by Cece and Joanne. I don't expect you to be an expert in everything, but I do, as a business owner, expect you to understand.
Right.
So that's a little different twist. I expect you to understand. But the 4 areas I think are fabulous. And I know, Joanne, you've heard all of these. The first one is, I call it your business core.
Right.
That's your why, your what, your who, your how, your focus. How do you go about thinking about your ideal client, where you find them, and your point of view, which is your differentiator. That's what, Cece, you talked about accounting. How does one accountant differentiate themselves from another accountant? I'm sorry, there's a lot of accountants out there. How do you differentiate yourself? The same kind of thing. That's your business core. And I say to people, you have a core to your body. It helps you stabilize your body and keep you going. Well, your business has the same thing. If you don't have a solid core, you're going to struggle. The second area is consulting is a relationship business. You both know that. It's a relationship business. Well, the second area is all about building awareness and relationships. Sometimes I refer to that as the marketing of you. The third area is what happens when somebody says, can you help me? Do you know how to go about discovering and coming up with an approach and a price and a proposal that wins? And the last area most consultants know how to do, because that ties to their experience and expertise, delivering with excellence, delivering on your promise. They're the 4 key areas that I recommend are the framework for any consulting business, whether you're a business of 1 or a business of 1,000.
True.
And you need to understand that framework. And we don't teach that. We don't educate people on that.
Well, you do.
I do. That's why I call myself.
That's why you're here today. Absolutely.
And that's why I don't call myself a coach. I am a consultant, but I really am a strategic advisor, because we work on that together to figure out what makes sense for you. So it's flexible, it becomes yours.
I like that very much, strategic advisor, because you kind of really pinpoint, you home in on what the problem is, and then hopefully direct into that way. So I think that's important, because a lot of times there's so much waffle, I think, with regards to stuff that we do, that we don't home in. We're not strategic enough, and to be able to move forward into our businesses. So
right. I mentioned, early on in my career, I went through this 2 management training programs. I leveraged a lot of my experiences there, because one of the programs was very tactical, the other very strategic. when you build a business, you have to think strategically as well as tactically.
Yes.
And no one person's the same. So how can I give you something that's the same for every person? You're going to have to adjust it for yourselves. But I can give you the framework to get started.
And I'll tell you some of my nuggets that I learned from her after the break, if you would like.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to be able to learn a little bit more about, and maybe we can take that away with some of the into our audience and our listeners out there. I'm sure they're having some issues and things like that they would like to have resolved. So maybe some of these nuggets would certainly help. So that's what we're going to do. So Laura, I hope you'll stick around here with us. We're going to be right back. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Link to Expert Business Showcase. I have my good friend Joanne Weiland with me. I am Cece Schatz, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory. And you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact GoingSoloDirectory.com.
Well, welcome back. You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. This is the Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Schatz, the doyen of relationship building, and I have my good friend here, Joanne Weiland. She is the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of the collaborative cloud community linktoexpert.com. I'm going to toot her horn because she doesn't do it very often. Those of you that don't know about linktoexpert.com, you better check it out because it's just the most awesome community of not only individuals, business leaders, but also what it does. The performance of that particular community is tremendous. Like you can send out, do blogs in there. They can get noticed immediately. I will tell you, I did a blog not too long ago, and it was like the next couple days, it had like well over 100, almost 200, views on it. So if you want to be able to get out, get known, be seen, what you're always saying, be seen, be heard.
Be seen, be heard, be known worldwide with these. Because I feel like, yes, I really do feel like, we all should be lifelong learners or strive to be. And we can learn from people like Laura, and that's why we have her on the show today. So we appreciate it. And I promised before the break that I would share a nugget that I learned. Recently, I was on went involved in one of Laura's workshops, the 3 key strategies to create the best consulting clients. And it sounds silly, but that is huge. You don't get them, you create them. And she teaches you how. And I think so many people do forget that you do have to create them because of what she talked about before the break, knowing your core, knowing how you're a differentiator, building those relationships, and then continually delivering with excellence. So there is a strategy behind it. And it sounds silly, but my big nugget that day was less is more. Because sometimes when you're learning all this, you think, oh my God, I got to do all this, and how am I going to do it? But when she shared, and I'm going to ask her to share now a little bit about what she means by less is more, I hope it helps you as much as it did me.
Okay. Yeah, less is more. And during COVID, all of us jumped on Zoom calls and somebody said to me, you don't get on too many calls. I said, I get on some calls. but I'm very specific as to which calls I get on. And then people were getting burned out. I'm sure you heard burned out. They were just on too many calls. And I would say, well, less is more. Why are you getting on calls or Zoom calls and networking with people that aren't your ideal client? Like, what do you mean? I said, if they're not your ideal client, why are you getting on a call? Well, to network, you never know who people know. And I totally agree. You never know who people know. But you want to be strategic about it. There's only so many hours in the day. So you want to be strategic about how you reach out to people. And then last year, I was getting bombarded with what I want to call influencers. People were reaching out to me saying, why haven't you written another book? And I'm talking about editors of traditional publishing companies. Why haven't you written another book? I'm like, it takes time to write a book. That's a lot of work. I'm spending the time creating courses.
By the way, she is an author.
Yeah, I'm not promoting it today. I'm writing for online courses because everything of mine is an online course type environment. So I can offer and work with consultants who have had a couple clients, but they're really trying to build their business and offer them something at a price point that they can afford. Because it's pricey to work one-on-one with people. Mm-hmm. So I was getting bombarded, writing books, podcasts. You should start podcasts. I already have a YouTube channel, which goes ups and down. But you should pass this on to your people. I was burned out by the end of last year. And I said, you know what? I'm not doing what I tell my people to do. Less is more. Focus on active strategies. Active strategies are strategic referrals, strategic networking, strategic targeted outreach. And I know many consultants are extremely successful by focusing on those three things. And then they augment with the podcasts and the writing. But that's the basics. It's like the add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Go with less is more and go back to the basics and then add. And that's what we were talking about in that webinar, because you want to create clients. How's the best way to create clients? Is by getting to know them and helping them to get to know you.
I know back then we were all bragging like, I was on Zoom 7 hours today. And, and when I heard that, it's like, oh my goodness, she's absolutely right. Here we are just bragging about being on. And then how do you even follow up if you just keep going on another one or even decipher who they are? Like Cece and I recently learned that we can use this new tool called ChatBridge to help us with that project of all these different people we go on with Zoom to make it easy to follow up. But it's still, if you're on 7 hours a day, when do you have time to even use the tool and then call the people that you thought, oh, that would be a perfect ideal client. Let me, follow up with them. So it's really.
It's less is more. And Cece, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel the same way. I mean, I get asked continuously to be on things or do this or do that. And I really pick and choose what I do. And mainly it's because I've got to be able to put all the effort into it. And how can I do that if I don't? Like now I'm actually focusing on, domestic violence, helping with the domestic violence project, and my heart's kind of with that. And so I took that on. So it's like, you want to really pick and choose what you do want to do. And like, I feel like you're right. You have to be strategic in what you do.
Yeah.
And not everything, you just can't do everything, know? Yeah.
And I also tell people with the less is more, you got to be patient. Because people think I have to do more because I'm not moving ahead with my business. It's kind of hanging in there. And I'm like, no, you need to be patient. You need to be able to say no. Say no so that you do the right thing so that you can build your business. And I'll always remind you, it's a quote I love. It's by John Hayward, Heywood. He's a British author, old, hundreds of years ago. And you probably have heard part of the quote. And the quote is, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Yes.
But there's another part to that quote that also often gets dropped. And it is so true. And this is why I remind people with the less is more. But they were laying bricks every hour. And it's so true, because if you're building a business, I don't care what kind of business it is, what's important is you're constantly doing the right things, you're patient, and you move ahead. If you're only doing 1% of your overall plan, but you're doing that every day, guess what happens? You have a successful business, but you're doing less is more as you go about it. My goofy logic, I guess, but that's.
Yeah, I think it's true. I really do. I mean, I like the laying the brick every day. For instance, with my business, I find that, for me to get out there in front of the camera, being with other on other shows, doing other things, I don't feel that personally for me, that's not building. It's not brick building on my business. The brick building on my business is the people that are in my circle that are working with me. Then it's my job is to get them out there, not me out there. And so that's what I try to do. And so yeah, so I think you have to keep, my mom used to always say, keep your priorities straight.
Yes.
And I think that we tend to not do that because we want to help somebody else, or we want to do this or that. We don't keep our priorities straight when we're doing business. And so we do definitely have to do that.
Yeah. Tying back to the less is more, and Joe, you've heard me a number of times talk about creating clients and being very strategic as to how you think. There's no secret to success. There's no secret. You have to find out what works for you. Right. And that's why I always deal with the framework and work with people and say, let's figure out what works for you. But when they keep piling things on, I'm like, no. We're crossing out. And I did that the other day with one of my clients. She was burnt out. And I said, how many conversations did you have? 6. And how many the next day? 6. And how many the next day? And I said, no wonder you haven't gotten stuff done. How many can you realistically handle? And how many of those were really strategic, helping you build your business?
Right.
So it's really as less is more.
Very good. Very good. Well, let's make sure everybody knows how to get a hold of you. We have your phone number there. It's 610-429-3122. And then, of course, you can reach Laura. It's Laura, Laura, and her last name, BURFORD.com. And then, of course, her wonderful website, it's Laura's Consulting Guide. Laura's with an S on it. So make sure you get that. It's LAURAS Consulting, CONSULTING. Guide, GUIDE.com. And you want to pick up that free gift. And once you do the consultant assessment, it's the consultant assessment. Once you do this, then what you want to do is schedule a consultation with her, and it's free. And she can really kind of help maybe, move you forward if you're stuck in a particular area or something like that. So you don't know unless you give her a call and talk to her, right? You want to be doing that.
Assessment and it's found on the resource page.
Yeah, okay. and I'll make sure there's a link on the homepage.
Okay.
To make it easier for you as well.
Yeah.
And there's no time limit on this. Just the only thing I ask is you take the 10 minutes to go through the assessment
first.
Yeah. 10 minutes.
I'm glad you did, because you'll know even more what to talk about as well, in my opinion, because I've done the assessment.
You've done it, and it helps you think.
Yes.
Wait a minute, I never thought about that.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Now, we've only got a couple minutes left. And so what I'd like to do, Laura, if you would just take a moment, I know you're an author, so just share with us very briefly about your book so that those out there will know about it.
Oh, sure. Yes, I wrote a book in 2013, and this somewhat ties to how I approach everything I do. I wrote the book because I got hurt and I got told I was sitting put. So I wrote a book. It's about project management, and it's for the smaller businesses. It actually works quite well. I've had a number of consultants go buy the book to help them as they manage the delivery of their projects. And so the book is really aimed for the small business owner, for that individual who is not looking to get certified as a project manager, but has to run businesses. Came out in 2013. It was one of 10 small business books of the year. Yeah, I was kind of happy about that. I also went the traditional route. And I'm mentioning this because, Joe, this ties to your less is more and being strategic. I actually followed what I teach to get a book deal.
Yes, you did.
And I tell this story. I did exactly what I tell people to do. And I sent 11 letters out. Ended up with one coming back to me, a top-notch publishing company, saying, I love the book. I can't publish it because I'm publishing something close, but let me introduce you to the editor at Palgrave Macmillan. I had the editor from McGraw-Hill come back and say, like it, we're not publishing anymore. We have our mix of project management. Let me introduce you to the editor at AMA. And I had already reached out to them and they had gotten back to me. I did go with somebody else who is an expert at the time in project management books, but within 60 days, I had 3 deals from top-notch publishers. I only tell this story because it ties to less is more and being very strategic as to what you do.
Very good. Very good. Well, I know that we're going to have you on our Link to Expert Goodreads Authors Corner. So we're going to share a lot more in more depth with the book itself. But I wanted those out there to know that you do have a book out there. And so if they want to go get it, they can find out more on your website. All the information will be right there on our website. Of course, laurasconsultingguide.com. And I'm sure it's on Amazon because there isn't anything that's not on Amazon. So, right?
Yeah, but it's an older book, so it's there. But the other thing is, please, if you're listening and you're looking for help, check out the articles I have out there. Check out my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel does have some good videos on there, all aimed and all designed to help you build, grow, and scale your own business.
Because you have to consistently and frequently stay in front of people with current information, and she does an excellent job of that. And she also, I wanted to just quick share that she loves to remind us all, it's also about storytelling. It's really good when you can tie it into a story, what you do to help people. So Laura, you've helped me over the years, and I feel like it's mutual. I mean, you introduce me to people all the time. I introduce you. After your workshops, I ask the people that were there what was their favorite nugget, a way to, so that then I provide the feedback for Laura of what they said. I mean, it's just true collaborating. And I just wanted to remind everybody, you really do so much more when you collaborate than when you're trying to do it yourself. And if somebody else gives you a pat on the back, it goes a lot further way than when you're just doing it solo. So going back to Cece's going solo, but meaning it really is a group effort, and it really is fun to work with Cece and Laura, people like that I feel like we really are there for each other. And that's, I think, really smart business too.
Absolutely. So wonderful to have you here with us, Laura.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much. Again, the free gift consultant assessment takes 10 minutes to do it. So definitely you want to do that. Then she'll give you a free consultation. So you just go on laurasconsultingguide.com. That's Laura's with an S. LAURAS consultingguide.com, and the resource page, you go on the resource page, you'll find it, because you know what, you're going to click around, look at the articles, look at all the stuff, check out our YouTube channel, all of those things, because you know what, you're here to better your business. You're here to really build something. And so, gosh, you've got these great experts, so why not take advantage of it? Absolutely.
And you should always take advantage of experts.
Yes.
You never stop learning.
Because you always be an expert.
It keeps
I
us
would
young.
always be an expert. You can't always know an expert, but you can always hire an expert too. So
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Again, you want to pick your battles, right? You want to figure out what you're good at and do that particular thing and then hire the expert to do the other thing. Build your team. That's what's important. So everyone, thank you so much for listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase. We are just loving being here with you guys. We hope that you'll enjoy it. If you guys would like to get a hold of us, if you want to be a guest or a host, we would love to have you. Just contact either myself or Joanne. Joanne's email is jweiland, WEILAND, at linktoexpert.com. She's the expert here. And then you have me, which is Cece at goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. I love to get your emails and I answer them and read them all myself. So I hope that you will reach out to us and definitely contact us. But we love to get guests. We love hosts. If you want to come on and be a host on the
yes,
channel, we would love to have you. So I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I did. Thank you, Laura, so much. Again, Laura's consulting guide. I mean, she's got the blueprint. Don't mess around. Just, get it done. Go to our website, get the free consultant assessment, laurasconsultingguide.com, and 10 minutes it takes to do the assessment and then have a consultation with her, which is absolutely free. So you can't beat that. So again, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm Cece Schatz.
and I'm Joanne Weiland.
And we'll see
Laura,
you.
thank you for Burford for being here with us. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining us.
You're listening to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Bye.